Here we are, folks, at the final video of Sonic Month, and we're talking about Sonic R. Now, to be completely honest with you guys, I actually used to really like this game. Call it a guilty pleasure, but I did. I enjoyed it. But that doesn't mean it's not flawed, and it also doesn't mean that I'm still gonna like it as much as I used to now. So, without further ado, let's begin. I should say real quick though that I'm not playing the original version for the Sega Saturn. I actually don't even own a Sega Saturn, so I'm playing the GameCube version that came on the Sonic Gems collection. So, a Sonic racing game. This was one of the earliest attempts at the concept. The only ones before being the Drift games, which, yeah, not much to say about those. But yeah, a racing game featuring Sonic the Hedgehog. It kind of seems like a match made in heaven. I mean, Sonic games are already about racing through levels. The problem here though is that they structured the game to be a kart racer, kind of. Honestly, it's kind of hard to pin down exactly what they were going for. The characters don't control like how you'd expect them to, seeing as how they're not in cars, it's just them running around. But they also don't really control quite like Mario Karts do. And also, the levels are very open, with multiple routes to explore and collectibles? Yeah, there's collectible items scattered around the levels. Is this a 3D exploration game, or is it a racing game? There are rings, which are used to open up hidden routes, which are usually used to either be a shortcut or to get a token or Chaos Emerald, both of which are used to unlock hidden characters. Yes, just like any good kart racer, you have more than 4 characters to choose from. You start out with 4, but as you collect tokens in the levels, you unlock more of them. Now, this was before the huge introduction of silly and new Sonic characters in every installment, with Rouge, Shadow, Cream, that bear thing. So, who are they gonna get to be in this game? Well, we have the members of Team Chaotix, Vector, Charmy, Mighty the Armadillo, they all appeared before on the 32X. Then there's also random characters that were introduced in Sonic the Fighters, that came out a year before this. Or maybe we could add in not any of those, and instead, random Eggman Badnik from Sonic & Knuckles, Metal Sonic, Super Sonic, and then we could make robotic versions of Knuckles and Tails. Their thought process gets even weirder. They realize that they have a Metal Sonic, so they thought, hey, let's make a Metal Knuckles character. But then instead of just making a Metal Tails, complete the set, they thought, no, you know what? Let's do something completely different and original. They decided to make a Tails doll. Yeah. Tails doll. God, this thing is super creepy. It really does just look like it's a doll that's been possessed by a ghost or something. And those eyes. Ugh, those lifeless eyes. I honestly find this thing a bit unsettling. I mean, it's actually pretty creepy. Who could that be? Huh, weird. I thought that maybe it was a delivery or something. Ah! Huh. I always imagined this thing would be a bit bigger. Honestly, it's not even really creepy anymore when it's this small. Well, anyway, let's talk about gameplay. I'll talk about the other characters and stuff later. The gameplay. God, I wish control wasn't the hardest thing to explain in a review, because that's what this game's main issue is. You press the L and R buttons to turn tighter. You might think that it's like a drift, but it's really not. It's more of just leaning to the side so that you get a bit better of a turn. But even with that, you'll find yourself constantly not making turns and running into things. And oh god, running into things is terrible. You stop completely, and then you have to go around whatever you ran into. Or if you ran into a corner, then you're gonna have to back up, which you can't, because there's no way to just walk backwards. You have to turn around, which, oh boy, it is very slow. Sometimes if you mess up hard enough, then there's not even any point in trying anymore. You might as well just pause the game and start the race over. The bad control also definitely doesn't help when trying to collect things like tokens. I passed right by this token, and since reverse doesn't exist, I had to stop, slowly turn around, and grab it. Oh, and there's also a spin dash ability, which is completely useless. Doesn't even really make you go very fast, and you can't really turn while you're spin dashing. Yeah, it's utterly useless. It really does feel like the game is just always constantly fighting against you trying to steer. It just doesn't feel right. Now, with that said, I have a funny little story for you guys. When I was younger and I played this game, the control was even worse. You have to press forward on the control stick or the D-pad to move forward, making it harder to steer. Since you have to keep pressing up on the control stick, you have to just gently press left or right to steer, because if you steer too hard, then you'll be letting up on the gas, and then you'll instantly slow down. It's really weird and it just doesn't feel right. Well, apparently after all these many years, I have finally learned to pay attention to instructions, because the B button is accelerate, which makes it a lot easier. It doesn't fix it completely though. The control is still pretty bad, but it is better. But with that said, isn't it weird to have an acceleration button for Sonic? I mean, if he was in a car, then that would be fine, but he's just running, so it just feels kind of odd. Oh, and speaking of odd, the level design. What is this? You can run off the road and then pretty much just go wherever you want, which only really succeeds in making these levels so confusing. And no, I don't just mean average confusing. I mean, oh geez, I have no idea where to go. Is this even a racing game? Where do I go? Oh god, confusing. These levels just really are not structured like racetracks a lot of the time. Like right here. Turn right and you end up in a pinball machine area. Yeah, this isn't confusing or disorienting at all. This level, Regal Ruin, is really confusing. Even after playing through it multiple times and winning, I'm still a bit disoriented at parts. Seriously, in this game, I could do a lap, and then on my second lap, I could go a completely different route, and I wouldn't even know why or how. Oh, and those collectible items? Made even dumber by the fact that the levels are so confusing. You have to scour the levels in order to find the location of all these tokens and emeralds. It's pretty damn boring. And it's not like I'm just gonna find them without looking through my many runs I do throughout the levels, because I beat this game in under an hour. I'm only still playing this level because I want to unlock all the characters. To make matters even more annoying, in order to collect the tokens, you have to collect all 5 of them in a single race, and then you have to come in either first, second, or third. And to collect the emerald, you have to come in first. If you don't come in first, then the game just taunts you, holding the Chaos Emerald in front of your face and teases you like a jerk. And oh boy, I really love this emerald in specific. You pay the toll, you walk up, and then you have to wait for the emerald to slowly fall down to the ground. The emeralds often cause you to go through a slower route, or just makes you slow down or sometimes even stop to collect it. There's an area here that you need to access to get one of the 5 tokens. I call it an area and not a shortcut, because God knows this ain't no shortcut. You have to collect a token and then enter this weird building. You hit a spring and then you spring back up to the main road. But they put the door to this building on the other side. So you have to slowly walk around, do a very tight turn, and then successfully enter it. It wastes a lot of time. Even if you do it well, it just doesn't feel fast. But I mean, since when was Sonic supposed to be fast? I mean, you saw the last 2 reviews, right? From a graphical standpoint, the game is much better. It's really bright, it's really colorful, and although the character models look pretty bad, this is a port of a Sega Saturn game, so I guess I can forgive it. Although I will say one thing. I have not played the Sega Saturn version firsthand, but from videos and screenshots that I've seen, it had horrible render distance. So as for the GameCube version, the render distance is fine. You can see everything perfectly fine. But the Saturn version is bad. That render distance would just make all of these levels so much more confusing. One thing I really like about the GameCube version is that the weather changes. It adds a lot more variety to the levels, visually at least. And when you're playing a level and it's snowing, the water freezes over, which is kind of cool. Although it does pretty much just mean that if you get lucky when you select a level and it's snowing, then the level's going to be a lot easier. But whatever, it's neat, and the graphics are a-okay. The music, on the other hand, it's, well, I mean, just listen. Yeah, it's cheesy. And I mean, really cheesy. Like, painfully cheesy and very unfitting. I mean, how did they think that these songs would work for a racing game? Or a Sonic game? Or a video game? I mean, just listen to some of these amazingly cheesy lyrics. Living in the city, you know you have to survive. Living in the city, you've got to keep that dream alive. So many different things to see, there's no time. Okay, you know what? This is a Sonic game. If Sonic wants to run around the country in a day, he can do that. There's plenty of time for him to see whatever he wants. So many people all around. So many feelings to be found. Living in a city where no one lets you down. You know what? This city is actually starting to sound really nice. I want to go there. Oh god, no. No, it does not. This is not nice. They are most certainly letting me down. So anyway, I unlocked the 5th level, which actually has the best song in the game that's actually pretty good if you play as Super Sonic. Which is neat, I guess. And once you've beaten that last level, you win! Here's your prize. Credits to more bad music. But we're not done. We still need to unlock all of the characters. We unlocked Eggman when we beat the game, Super Sonic by getting all the Chaos Emeralds, and the 4 other characters by collecting all of the tokens and then beating those characters in a race. We've unlocked all of the most original Sonic characters that they could find. Metal Sonic, Metal Knuckles, Robot Eggman, Tails, Doll. God, this thing really still creeps me out. All of the different characters have different stats and abilities. But sadly, it's not really the most balanced game in the world. Scratch that, it's just unbalanced. Very much so. For instance, once you've unlocked Super Sonic, you win. He is way overpowered. It is completely unfair. But even before unlocking him, it's unbalanced. The best characters are Sonic and Knuckles, period. If you want to win, then play as them. Amy Rose is by far the worst character. She is useless. She's super slow, and although she can drive over water, that doesn't really help at all. I mean, Knuckles can glide, Tails can fly, and Sonic can double jump over that same water. So being able to drive over it is not really worth the loss in speed. And hell, when it's snowing, then everyone can go over the water, so she's literally useless during the winter. Tails controls like he's running on soap, and the robot characters are okay, I guess. They're pretty much just the same as their real counterparts, but maybe slightly worse. Tails doll especially, he is very slow, and he keeps moving forward even after you've let go of the acceleration button, as opposed to every other character who would stop almost on a dime. He's pretty creepy. I'm being honest, memes aside, he is honestly pretty creepy in how he just moves around on his own. It's almost as if this doll has a mind of his own. There's a multiplayer mode, but I don't really have anyone to play with right now. Mike's busy with some stuff. Hey, I'm not busy. I can play some Sonic R. You're busy. So yeah, he's busy. So there's nothing I can really say about the multiplayer mode.
And look who's back, folks.
Oh god.
I'm here to help you play some Sonic R. I heard that you need a second player, and luckily for you, I am an absolute champ at Sonic R.
I can clearly see that that's a trophy for Mario Kart.
Well, Mario Kart, Sonic R, what's really the difference?
I'm gonna be nice, and I'm gonna pretend I didn't hear that.
Well, anyway, I was just... Hey, wait a minute. How the heck did that thing get in here?
Game Master?
Wait a minute, how did you get from there to over there and just... Oh my god, you're so creepy. Hey, stay away from me. Stay away!
Huh. Seems he had something else to take care of. Honestly, this game is so unbalanced that all I really have to say about the multiplayer mode anyway is, it's bad. It lacks fun. But yeah, not much left to say after that. This game lacks quite a bit of polish. I ran into a few glitches, which were annoying, and they caused me to have to restart a race. And yeah, the game's controls are just really imprecise, and the levels are weirdly designed for a racing game. I've really never played another racing game like this, so I guess I can say that. If that's a positive, then it's original. Overall, the 3 main problems with this game are the level design, the bad controls, which you can get used to with a bit of time, and the lack of content. There are only 5 levels, and once you've beaten them, all that's really left is unlocking characters. And honestly, finding all of the unlockables doesn't even really feel worth it, since all of the hidden characters are just robotic versions of the default ones. There are other modes you can play in, like balloon mode, collect all the balloons and all that, and time trials, but when you get right down to it, there's still only 5 levels to play in. But to be completely honest, I still find the game kind of fun, to an extent. It's definitely a guilty pleasure of mine, and I don't enjoy all of it, but yeah, I definitely found more enjoyment from this game than Sonic Labyrinth or Sonic Shuffle. I even enjoy the music. I don't know what it is, it's just so cheesy and catchy that it just puts a smile on my face. Oh, yeah! Okay, not quite as much as that does, but, you know, still. And even if you don't enjoy the music very much, you can actually go into the options and turn off the vocals. And actually, the music sounds pretty good without them. I just wish that there was more replay value, honestly. 10 characters is okay, but 5 levels? Ugh. Imagine if Mario Kart 64 only had 5 levels to play on. And it would also definitely help to have characters be more balanced, giving all of the characters but Sonic and Knuckles a purpose for existing. But if you really do want to try this game out, and you're not looking for a multiplayer game to play with friends, then I'd say try it out. The GameCube or computer version, that is. And with that, I am done. Sonic Month is over. It was a lot of fun, and also a lot of work, and boredom at times, but still, I had a lot of fun. I might even do another one of these next year. I mean, there are many Sonic games that I could still talk about, good and bad. So let me know if you enjoyed it. Hey, noob. I found QB downstairs drowning in the bathtub. I mean, what's up with that? She can't swim. Huh. Weird.
Agent 3, you're late with your report.
Get back! Back, I said!
Agent 3?
No, that trap was supposed to keep you trapped. Now what am I gonna... Hey, stay away from me. Stay away from me, you creepy little guy!
You seem to be busy. I'll get back to you tomorrow.